I was going to yield my time to the ranking member.
I thank the gentleman very much, and again, I thank the witness for appearing. As I indicated previously, you have indicated that HUD has limited staffing, and that over the years you've seen a decline in the number of persons who are staffing HUD. I'd like for you to comment on this, if you would, please, in terms of how this limited staffing impacts HUD's ability to meet its mission.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Green, for the question. In essence, what we have seen is the lowest staffing numbers of HUD probably ever. I think they're at their lowest staffing number if our information serves us correctly. And it comes at a point where they've taken on more responsibilities. We just went through a serious financial crisis. We're still trying to dig out of that. We also have disasters that we are dealing with. And so it becomes more and more difficult with regard to HUD's staffing to properly and directly oversee these programs that they administer. You know, the reason for why the lower numbers, part of it is I think, goes back to the numbers being set by OMB and just how many staffing each agency should have. And so what HUD has obviously tried to do to get past that staffing number is to have more contracting and more contractors on board. And in fact, we've seen contractors overseeing contractors because HUD's own staff isn't able to oversee the contractors, which is a little ironic, and of course, quite frankly, I think more expensive than having full-time employees on board. And it does impact. I think it does have an impact to them. Having said all that, what I would also say, Mr. Green, is that with regards to much of the funding that goes to these state and localities, it is our fundamental belief, and I believe HUD's, that these localities should also take responsibility for proper oversight and management of those programs.
Thank you. And you do agree that much of what your report speaks to involves the localities in terms of things that have not been done to meet the proper standards so as to guard against waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Now let's talk for a brief moment about CDBG disaster grants. Is it true that historically, when Congress has allocated these supplemental appropriations, that Congress has also allocated administrative funds?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And with the lack of administrative funds, how does that impact HUD's ability to properly engage in oversight?
Well, with regards to the administrative funds, are to be used by the local and state organizations receiving them to conduct their own oversight. These administrative funds really go to the localities to oversee the program that they're managing. Somewhere in the order of 20% of their funding goes to administrative accounts. We have done some number of reviews to determine just what those administrative monies are going for and whether they're going to serve the purpose of proper oversight and management of the programs, or whether they're being used for other purposes that really don't have anything to do with the particular program or assisting low to moderate income households.
When we have these large supplemental appropriations, should HUD be accorded additional resources to help manage these supplemental appropriations?
Well, you know, that's a tough question given sequestration and budget cuts that we're all facing. You know, I think there's enough oversight responsibility to go around. We could always do more with more, as the old adage goes. I don't know what the right balance of proper staffing would be. I think part of what affects HUD in being able to be more robust in oversight is the fact that they just can't seem to finish or complete their information and IT projects that would help them to look at data closer, to review information more specifically in each of these programs. So I think until some of their IT infrastructure is completed, you're going to have manual work to have accomplished, to accomplish the goal of oversight. So it's sort of twofold. It's not just staffing. I think it has to do a lot with their infrastructure and their ability to oversee it technically.
Thank you. I yield back.
We'll now recognize the Vice